Hello, beautiful soul, tuning in for today's message. Clearing the space, clearing the energy, connecting to the heart, connecting to the body, connecting to the earth, and reaching to the heavens. Calling in the message for today and allowing it to flow. I see Odin. I see his one eye. One eye in the spiritual realm and one eye in the physical realm. I feel like he's staring right at you. This is a very masculine energy. Ooh, there's a level of mastery that's taking place, and Odin is calling you deeper. I hear deeper, my child. There's a walk into Asgard and the lower cities. You've been hesitant to reach deeper into the spiritual knowledge that you have been seeking. You're seeking it, but hesitant to go deeper. He's inviting you into the darkness. He's inviting you into the darker realms, into the darker energy, into the underworld, to, I hear, in hopes you find what you seek. And this energy is very flow, very beautiful. I see a pendulum though. And my voice was like all scratchy. In hopes you find what you seek. What are you seeking, young traveler? I see the ruins are starting to come clear for you. There's a specific ruin that you've been avoiding. It's like I just want silence. There's a fear, an apprehensive, not a fear, you're apprehensive, which is wise. But instead of apprehensiveness, how about discernment? You're already equipped to go into the underworld. You're already equipped to know the forbidden knowledge, to know the deeper realms, the deeper darkness, the deeper truth within self. This is a journey that you've walked many times before. Do you have fear? This fear is meant to be faced. Okay, I'm calling out cards. I see dragon energy. I see a forest shaman. There's a shadow aspect that you're learning to master. I get excited with that. In order for you to find the sun, you must clear the space within your darkness. There's something that you have hidden for yourself in your own darkness. There's something that you have buried previously in a previous life, perhaps. A previous experience, perhaps quantumly. Whatever the case may be, you have left something for yourself to receive. There is a huge karmic clearing that will happen when you receive this gift. But a fear must be faced and sacrificed upon the tree before one can come into alignment. The mastery is yours, for the seeker shall receive, but one must sacrifice. The fear must be surrendered to come into conclusion. Trust, dear traveler, that you have what you need, that you have what it takes. Beautiful. We have karma here, and it's reversed. There's something that you've been working on very diligently, because we have the 10 of Wands. There's something that you've been working on, that you've been trying to bring forward, trying to multiply. Interesting. An empire, perhaps. Perhaps a mother or children, or a divine partner, or money. Perhaps you're trying to multiply money, or spiritual gifts, because we have manifestation here, and we have the Magician. But in order for it to come into the light, it must be surrendered on the tree. If you're seeking multiplication, interesting word, then one must come into cohesion with all aspects of self. Must come into the yin and the yang energy, and not just divine feminine and divine masculine, the light and the dark of self. The fear, the apprehensiveness, they don't want me to use the word fear, interesting, is a normal reaction to the unknown, right? The world of the mystics, the darker aspects of our psyche, the darker aspects of the earth, the darker aspects of mystics. And in order to procure, interesting words, attain this information, one must surrender to their own darkness to become whole. You're on the verge of this homecoming. You're on the verge of this, I heard bewilderment, and I heard homecoming. Are you apprehensive, interesting, of being bewildered or being tricked, or trickster spirits? This is a soul code that you have carried for lifetimes, rightfully so. This can happen. But there's a discernment and a trust within oneself that is needed at this time to come into cohesion with the light and the dark aspects of self. And as you dive into this deeper aspect, into the psyche, into the subconscious, into the earth, into the unknown, there is an inner trust that must take place. To come into a wholeness of being is to trust all aspects of self and to love all aspects of self. I feel like there's something that you've been putting on the chopping board. It's showing me like off with his head type energy. There's something that you've been trying to chop off within your shadow. This isn't acceptable. This isn't acceptable. This isn't acceptable. Why do you keep doing this? Why do you keep doing this? The more you beat up your shadow, the further away you push this success. The further away you push this victory. One must come into cohesion. One must come into balance with its darker aspects of self. Oh my God, we have the sun and the moon here. That's interesting. With the moon, we have this, I must work hard. I must chop wood and haul water, which is rightfully so. But when the mindset is, I must hold the heavy load for my kingdom, for my family, for my tribe, then we're so weighed down that we are unable to shift from light to dark. We are energy. If we keep ourselves weighed down with this 10 of Wands, then we're not shifting. We're not flowing. Oh, beautiful flow, that divine feminine energy. Okay, so you've been seeking this divine feminine. You've been seeking this divine cohesion, this coming together of light and dark, this coming together of masculine and feminine, this coming together. And you've been avoiding that within self because you feel like maybe perhaps you have to have your divine partner to surrender to that deeper knowledge, to surrender to that deeper power, the deeper magic, the deeper mystics. When really this could be the furthest thing from the truth, because you're already whole. And when we come into wholeness within ourself, within our light and our dark, within our own masculine and feminine, then we come together with our divine union. But we must first come into cohesion with our darkness, with our shadow self. If we're avoiding the shadow self with this karmic cord, with this karmic alignment, with this karmic false aptitude, then we're avoiding our shadow. We're avoiding our power. We're avoiding the most important part of ourselves. This divine feminine that you've been seeking is holding the key to many, 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 many things. And she is guided by the wolves. She follows her intuition. She's already in her mystical power. She's already in her divine feminine. She's already in her high priestessness. She's already a practitioner. Interesting. She's already a master of many things because she is walking with the wolves and the moon and the forest and the trees and the fog and in the darkness. She is walking in all these things. If you're not in cahoots, interesting. If you're not in alignment with your shadow, she's going to sense that. She's not going to have time for that because you're avoiding the darker aspects of yourself. If you're trying to cut off the head of your shadow, then you're not in a space of love. You're in a space of resistance. Divine feminine does not need resistance. She needs alignment, cohesion. She needs a wholeness to come together into companionship, into leadership, into wholeness, into union. If you're not in union with yourself, you will not be able to attract this divine feminine that you've been seeking. I hear that again, to multiply. Like you have these seeds, this empire, this passion, this purpose burning within you, and the feminine gives life to the seeds. So you've been seeking this feminine, knowing that when you come into cohesion, when you come into union, the dream will be built. This empire right here, the dream will be built. But if you're carrying the load of 1,000 past warriors and cutting off the heads of all these vengeful parts of yourself, then you're not coming into union with self or divine union. Interesting. We have the magician here, the divine masculine. You wield much power, beautiful soul. But in order to receive her, he must come in to alignment with his darkness. This karma right here is reversed, right? And this look on his face is smug. If you're in some sort of, I hear, ego inversion, interesting, the divine feminine is going to sense that. She's not going to have time for that. And then we have the sun. We have perfect alignment of masculine and feminine. Definitely needing to work with the ego at this time to shift through this. And working with the ladies of the rose, Lady Mother Isis, Mary Magdalene, Mother Sophia, Mother Mary, Hathor, Aphrodite. Working with this divine feminine within yourself will help bring this in. She has darkness, Lilith. There could be some resistance in that. When I said that, my heart was like, ugh, stabbed. If there's a heart to heal in that space, now's the time, especially if you're seeking union. Sometimes things aren't what they seem. And if you're avoiding the darker aspects of yourself, you're avoiding the darker aspects of the divine feminine. Therefore, you're creating resistance. And you're creating fractures and illusions. I was going to go deeper into the word illusions, but they're not wanting me to do so, so I'm not. Inyam. He could be a fire sign. We have some flipped over cards here. Ooh, interesting. A lot of masculine energy today. Leo, Sag, or Aries. You could have a lot of fire in your chart. There's a lot of flipped over cards in here. That's interesting. Yum, 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 yum. Yum, 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 yum. I'm looking at a medieval temple. I'm looking at a medieval castle or a medieval village. Ooh, there's a past life that you are, I hear, acquiring and healing. And then it's showing me Odin. And it's showing me Odin on the cross in this Hermetic deck, which is interesting. The Hangman and the Ten of Cups reversed. It's not wanting to come together. That you're really needing to heal that past life. It's acquiring much of your energy and much of your time. Interesting. I feel like I need to be very specific with my words. I feel like taking the time to really tune into this energy, tune into your words, what you perceive, what you feel, what are illusions, what are reality, and what does that truly mean to you as you shift the veil of both. Beautiful. We have the King of Pentacles and the Queen of Wands. This union that you're calling in, this feminine, has already been set for you. I do see an opportunity coming forward very soon. Look at this divine masculine. So in this specific deck, the divine masculine is a phoenix and the divine feminine is a unicorn. Look at this divine masculine, this King of Pentacles, which is a slow-moving king, yes, who's solid and good with business and good with his family, and he's acquiring the proper knowledge in the proper time. He's using his discernment. He's very dedicated and devoted. But at his seat is a divine feminine, this mystical force, this covenant. Interesting. The moon, the union. But there's avoidance in there. Are you trying to protect the divine feminine? Or are you trying to keep her hidden in safety? She doesn't need to be hidden. She needs to be honored. She doesn't need to be hidden. She needs to be risen up. To stand arm in arm with her king. Not behind her king. Not in front of her king. Not above her king. Not below her king. Beside her king. Look. It's balanced, light and dark. I like the emerald crown that he's wearing. This is a very slow moving energy. It's very it's 1850 on the clock. Interesting. It's very not solid, but stern. Now we're looking at this divine feminine. She could be a fire sign. She could have a lot of Leo in her chart. There's a lion here. Again with the Aries and Sag, but I see a lot of Leo in this. She's really good at making flowers grow. She could be very Celtic. She could be very mystical, especially with this panther right here, because the panther is of the stars and the lion is of the earth. She's very in tune with her darkness, her divine feminine. And there again, we have the moon. Wow. She speaks her truth, and that makes people uncomfortable. She could have thyroid problems, or her thyroid is coming into alignment. Her thymus gland is into alignment. She is in fucking alignment. And in order for you to reach her, you must also be in alignment. This light and dark here. See how his throat is in alignment? All of his stars are in alignment. It is in alignment. Definitely in alignment with the earth. As too is she. She speaks from the heart. She speaks with grace. She speaks with a firm knowing. She speaks of truth. She uses her heart. She could be a healer. She could be a practitioner. She's great with energy. She's great with growing plants, speaking perhaps to children. Her crown is of the sun. She's in alignment with her masculine and feminine for sure. Okay, and then we have this Knight of Wands. In order for you to come together and create, you must come into harmony. Interesting. Harness the harmony. He has a dragon helmet and a lion chastity. I hear chastity, which is very interesting. He's got a lion on his armor and a dragon on his helmet, and he's in perfect alignment with his creative force. When this does come together, it's going to be hot and it's going to be sexy and it's going to be beautiful. And we're coming up on Beltane this week. This is the time to meet somebody. This is the time to plant new seeds. If you're seeking a divine union, plant that in your soul. Plant that in the earth. If you're seeking that beautiful practitioner or healer or friend or psychic, plant the seed. If you're seeking a career, if you're seeking a new business, if you're seeking a family, a new house, a new car, a new friend group, plant the seed. Now's the time. Okay, now down here we have chaos. You're mastering your mind. If you don't mind, it don't matter. Interesting. The Eight of Cups is here. You're really shedding off old beliefs in the emotional spectrum. Interesting. I hear as are you both. Interesting. But you have to choose your path with this Two of Wands. Really watching the thoughts, cleansing the emotions, and staying steadfast towards the sun. Beautiful. When two become one. They're wanting me to stop there. Beautiful souls. Let me know if you have any questions. My email is posted in the comments section. The comments are off for now. My readings are open. I also have memberships. And Chakra Mastery 22-day challenge, if anybody's interested. That is also posted on my website. For now, we will see you soon.